So this is Daniela DiIorio with HLG Studios, also with WebVee Guide. This is Miss Teri Reeves, star of Battleground on Hulu, and also star of the show last season, Chicago Fire. And also friend of Daniela DiIorio since we were teenagers.
And how old are we now? We don't know.
We don't know how old we are. I was going to say, I think that was 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
we've only been friends for
2 years ago. We're not very old friends.
No, but very close. It seems like a millennium. So Teri, tell me about your experience on Battleground. What was that like? And that was also one of Hulu's very first produced show, correct?
Yeah, Battleground was Hulu's first originally scripted programming. So the first time that they produced their own new show. So it was interesting because it was an experiment for Hulu, and it was a first-time writer, director, creator, and he did all of the episodes, which is unusual for television. So he was the director and writer of every single episode. It was kind of amazing. It was really exciting. It was the first time I played a big part, and it was like, you never knew what to expect from day to day because there weren't any rules. Because of course, when you're on the web, there's like no real contract or any of that sort of thing. So they're kind of making it up as they were making it up as they went along.
And did you find that like liberating? Well, actually, wait. First, before we get into that,
yeah.
So you were also the star of you were a supporting role in Chicago Fire. And what is your comparison? What was the difference in your role in Chicago Fire as opposed to your role in Battleground?
Well, Battleground, the character that they wrote was a stronger female character. It was also a mockumentary. Chicago Fire was very much network television, NBC drama. Had an amazing amount of fun doing both things. But the cool thing about Battleground was it felt like it had more ownership over the character. I had more connection to the network that was producing it, so it felt like I was part of the mix more. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
What I was going to ask you did you find it more liberating to be online, on web, on digital entertainment, than comparison to the regular entertainment world?
Like, it's amazing working for a network because of all of the support you have, and the people involved are just as passionate about what they're doing. It's just you feel less, as an actress, you feel less connected to the creation of the entity. Whereas with Battleground, it felt like I was in I didn't write it, but like I was in there and they let me try things, try different lines. I was with the writer, creator, producer every day on set, so it felt like just more collaborative. But I did really love working on, a big TV set too. But yes, I did feel more liberated being on the web. The director himself, J.D. Walsh, did like 20 takes of a scene, and he would do takes where he's like, just screw it up as much as you can, just mess it up as much as you can. And it was so much fun as an actor to get to sort of play around like that and feel like you had the luxury of exploring creatively your character. They don't have time in network television. They have a deadline. They have, these people that they have to please, and like, anyway, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. No, I completely agree with you. I've never been on network television, but I have you, and I have all of the people that were in Leap Year and stuff kind of look at us in shock every time we would allow them to play with the role. I can't really specifically remember who it was out of our guest stars, but somebody said, "Oh, I can mess it up," and Yuri was like, "Yeah, like add a few add a few lines, add something, play around with it." And it's funny because when I was talking to Susan Miller about like the web and it being a little bit more liberating and whatnot, I found out that there is a law that you can't say, you cannot change an author's content in theater because she's written for theater at all. Like it's like you can't do that.
I change lines all the time in theater because I always forget my lines on stage.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you make a mistake, but like the way in which we were going about it in Leap Year,
right?
You know, where Yuri was basically giving, and granted, it is his own
content.
content.
There in the room with you.
Yeah, but you know, him as a director, he's like, do it, play around with it, play around with it. And I was just wondering how that would have translated if there was a rule like that in web entertainment, that, you know, what that would do to us as characters. You know, they looked at us like we were crazy, like we were allowing them to play around with this, and we were like, come on, like, be this, be that. There was one scene in the car with Eliza Dushku that I felt like we were in there forever because we were having so much fun ad-libbing.
Yeah.
We ad-libbed like a lot of like we did like, you know, 5 takes, which were like, you know, by the book, but we were like playing around with it. And then Yuri was like, go for it, make something up, do this, do that. And me and Eliza, we were like coming up with like, it was hilarious. Like, I don't even know where we got it. Like, I hate your neck. Like, what the hell? Like, who says that?
Thank God. Well, the scene turned out amazing. I specifically remember that scene. But it's like, it's so...
You know, so much fun. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just because there's less pressure in web, because you have a less amount of people to please. I feel like you do have that, like, writers that will just go, oh, have fun. And it is like so refreshing for an actor to be like, oh, you trust me to do my job?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're not a puppet anymore. What?
It's like, what? Me?
Me? Yeah. You're gonna let me have creativity? Yeah, you're not a puppet anymore, and you feel a little bit like a puppet on network television. Not to say that all network television experience is bad, but there's something freeing about being on the web. There's less pressure to get things right, because nobody knows what right is yet, and we're sort of we're like on the cusp of defining what right is, because nobody knows.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's it's awesome, and it's also like what you were saying about you have less people to please. Ironically, you have less people to please in the sense of, you know, behind you, like the cooks in the kitchen, so to say, but like in the audience way, you are pleasing more because they see these cool, like, you got to show your like really cool character in Battleground be like super like strong like woman. Like, how much of that was you? You know what I mean? And like,
well, I'm very strong and I'm very smart, so
you know, I just
there was like parts in Battleground too where she got to be like silly and freaked out.
Yeah. That was
like when you go to like, not to, I feel like I'm harping on network television, but like when you go there, they do stock characters, so like the audience can follow along. Like the audience isn't smart enough to keep up, so the character is always the exact same every single episode, and like you could predict their behavior. But on like Battleground, for instance, you never know what's gonna happen, because human beings like don't live in a box. You know, they have different behavior depending on what minute of the day it is.
Well,
also, I'm rambling.
No.
Yuri is special. You guys are, because I worked with you guys on Leap Year for one episode.
I was gonna bring that up as well. Like, I mean, when you were the jogger in Leap Year, she was the jogger that.
I had a name. I wasn't just the jogger. I don't know what my name was.
I was just gonna say, fuck, I don't know what your name is. Jogger number 1.
Oh, I totally. Yeah, it was jogger number 1. True.
When you served Wilson papers,
yes,
you like played around with that, you know, like so many takes, and it was
way.
But it was funny, and you actually ended up making our blooper reel.
Was it because I tripped when I was running away?
Yes, it was. You were on the blooper reel, and you.
That wasn't acting. That was just me falling.
Yeah. I was gonna say that was acting and a character choice, but you just told. So
I'm really talented, but I'm not actually trying.
Delicious. Yes, you are. What I was gonna say is with Battleground, that is different about your character in Chicago Fire. when you were saying that there are moments of where she's really, I'm so bad with names. Tell me her name again. I did this like 20 times.
KJ Jameson.
KJ, when KJ was like, her opening scene was her playing basketball with her boyfriend, or the guy that she's seen briefly in the show.
Not basketball, like fake basketball.
Yeah, not basketball.
Right.
Yeah, foosball, and you were being like really silly, and then you would like cut to the just one shot, like office shot, where you were literally leaning back in a chair, all like done up professional, hair tied back, super serious. Every time you talked about the story, or you talked to the camera as your character, you were like super serious. Super
serious. Maybe a comment about my acting choice? It feels like you think I was too serious. It feels like
I liked that, because with KJ, when you were in the scene and they were showing you, there were moments of you being silly, like there were moments of you being funny and like really like witty, but then you would jump to
humanity. That's humanity. That's human life. And
that was awesome. And I thought that was so cool to see that spectrum of going up and down like that, and like a real person. And with Hallie, I just always felt like,
Hallie is one adjective, and she always has to abide by this one adjective. Like it's feel like.
Tell me.
What's that?
What was the adjective? What was the adjective?
Sweet, I think.
Yeah, she was. She was always sweet.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, which is lovely, but boring all the time.
I mean, yeah, and I think that it was just as she had come back, you were starting as your character to kind of open, like, you know what I mean? Like you were not that you weren't sweet anymore, because you were, but you kind of almost came back as like
a pair of balls.
I'm sorry?
She grew a pair of balls.
Oh, I thought you came back as a pair of balls, and I was like,
I came back as a pair of hairy balls.
That is not what
Chicago Fire. It's groundbreaking what they did with my character.
With the pair of hairy balls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like that was really creative. I feel like they weren't quite. A lot of times with network television, everything happens so fast, right? And so they get picked up for the season, and then they're like trying to find their way as it's happening. I don't know if it's this way with the web, but when I started Battleground, I had all 13 scripts in front of me, and I had the trajectory of my character for that season. So I knew.
I don't know really necessarily what it is in the sense for the web, because when we do it,
I read leap year. I read all 13 leap year scripts.
Yeah, we have them all done. I mean, we have a deadline. Like specifically with leap year, we worked in branded content, so we had to turn it in because they needed to approve the scripts, because we had this company backing us that were basically like marketing their product. So of course they need to tell us, this joke is a little too racy, whatever. So we had a deadline for that stuff.
Yeah.
With Break a Leg, because we didn't have in the beginning, we didn't have anybody behind us, so to say. And even when we did get sponsors, like when we got sponsors, Holiday Inn Express, and there was somebody else there, we didn't have to turn in scripts because nobody was approving it, and like Holiday Inn Express let us do what we wanted to do.
Did you have a preference? Like, did you like doing one over the other?
Honestly, I don't really know. Like, I already knew, we had already established who our characters were,
Right.
With everyone before the scripts even were really, like, before they were written. Like, we already knew what kind of comedy we were going into, what we wanted our characters to be, and like, we all sat down with Yuri and we discussed it. So it was.
You guys all knew each other, so you had that shorthand.
So you also produced and directed and starred in no, you did not direct. You just produced in a iPad spec commercial, Females Who Kick Butt,
You
That
worked really hard
was
at memorizing that, didn't you?
it was really tough. I wrote it down. I actually got a tattoo of it.
Oh, good. That's a really nice tattoo.
Thank you. And you did a Indiegogo campaign for it or
Yeah.
Kickstarter?
We did Indiegogo. It was actually one of the women that was the UPM on Battleground knew that I did jujitsu, and she approached me one day when we were back in LA and said, "Hey, do you want to use your jujitsu to make something funsies?" And I said, "Yes, please." And so she's like, "Hey, do you want to help me produce the thing?" And I was like, "Sure." And I had no idea what I'm doing as a producer. So she sort of held my hand, but I figured out on my own how to set up an Indiegogo campaign and raise the funds.
Oh,
I know, aren't you proud of me? I was really proud of me. I was also proud of me that I figured out how to use Google Hangout today. Um,
me too.
yeah, thank you. Oh, and the cool thing about it was that the way we still got people excited about the campaign is that it was a project that was all female. So it was female producer, female director, female writer, female DP, female first AD, female everybody except for the bad guy who I beat up.
And also Dashel.
Oh yes, our editor is also your editor for leap year, but he has long hair, so he fit in with the.
I'm sure he'll love this.
But yeah, and it's gotten 700 views or something. We just posted it yesterday. Now that it's all done, but the web helps serve us in a way that I don't think we could have done in previous years when things like Indiegogo didn't exist. I don't think we ever would have thought about doing a project like this. So it's nice that we had that. And then what would you do with it? Now we have Vimeo and we can post it on Vimeo because we have the web. So it's like the web is servicing people like me who want to do their own work now and probably never would have been able to do that in years past. I don't know what little people like me would have done. Little people like me. Little.
Oh gosh, little. You're a giant.
I'm huge.
You are 8 feet tall. I don't know if people know that about you, but you are 8 feet.
Should I do a full body shot?
I mean, I can't see you for whatever reason. It's not working. I don't know if something happened to your computer or.
It's because I'm naked, and so the computer froze.
I'm afraid of hanging up this phone call because it might not happen again. So.
Because I might not be able to figure it out how to use the thing.
Well, not only that, but it always takes so long for Google Hangout to send it. That's why I always send it an hour before. What's your next project?
Auditioning.
Do you think that you're going to do anything else on the web?
I would love to. I had a blast working on the web. The people in the web world are just really fun and think outside the box, and they're brave because it takes, guts and commitment to do what they're doing because they don't have the support of a big network and money backer. So I would love to work on the web again, maybe with you guys. What do you think? Pitch it, show Yuri this video, show them I said it. So that's my answer.
Okay. Are you going to produce anything on the web? Do you have any urge to produce more?
Well, the jiu-jitsu spec commercial was to, one, practice being a producer to see if all of us ladies could do it, the project, and now that we've done it, the goal is to use that as our calling card to hire ourselves out to people so we can do more projects, or at least use it as a calling card to raise funds for the projects that we want to do. So yeah, I think that is in the cards for me, because nobody writes. There's not enough jobs to go around for how many people should be working, I think. So we got to make our own work.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah. So it's nice to know people like you guys who are making work for people that should be working.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody deserves a shot. I think that.
Especially talented people.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think there are too many talented people that go unnoticed in this town.
Yeah. There's just so many of us, and people climb.
Yeah, there's so many of us, but it's. I like that. When I say this town, I mean LA, but I like that when I talk about the web, it's everyone. It's the world, not a town. It's such a world that we get to see and have on our fingertips people like Sarika, who, is a really talented actress that is on Moms that I'm going to be interviewing next week, and Tina, who I'm going to be interviewing tomorrow, who's this amazing, talented writer, producer, director who wrote Anyone But Me with Susan Miller, and I mean just everybody, Reagan and Rochelle, all of them, they're so different but so talented in their own way, and it makes it so wonderful that they're accessible and they're noticed because of this computer that we're sitting in front of. I love that, and I think that it makes our jobs a little less scary.
I think you said that very well. I have nothing to add to your amazing articulateness.
Articulateness.